That is something in the area. I've not worked it up, actually. I just kind of pulled that one out of my hat. But that kickoff will end up being a 2 or 3 part fiddle kickoff that I'm going to put on one of the songs that I'm planning on putting on this new album that we're doing the GoFundMe about. This particular song is one I wrote about my papaw, my grandpa, which we called Daddy Paw. He was my mom's father. He was a preacher. And the title of the song is If I Could Still Be There. And there's a true story in the song. This actually happened. Daddy Paw used to sit out on his front porch by himself, and he would sit out there and probably, studying and going through in his mind, sermons and whatever that he was going to preach and teach on. But I can remember as a young boy, and I'm talking, like 7, maybe 8-year-old, I would walk around to the front porch, and I'd climb up on the porch and sit down in one of the rocking chairs there next to him. And I was a quiet kid. Anybody that knows me knows I've always been a quiet person, except for in these last few years when I've kind of opened up. But I would just sit up there, and look at Daddy Paw, and he'd look over at me, and there was a lot of quiet time there, just looking and smiling. But every now and then Daddy Paw would have something to say, and it was always huge. And I don't know if he ever realized the impact that this story ever had on me, because I went for years and never even told this story. But I can remember sitting there on the porch one day, and he reached in his pocket and he pulled out some change. Daddy Paw was a rich man, had a front porch near the promised land. Where he pulled out a penny and he looked over at me and he held that penny out and said, "Look here, son." He said, "Look what that right there says." And he read it to me. "In God we trust." And he pulled out a nickel and he said, "It's on the nickel." He pulled out a dime and he said, "It's on the dime." And he pulled out a quarter and said, "It's on the quarter." Then he reached into his wallet and he pulled out a dollar bill. And it was even on the dollar bill, And that stayed with me all through my life. And sat around in the quiet. And I can remember those days just like they were yesterday. And I'm sure that he probably never gave a second thought about the things that he would say to us. Or maybe he did, I don't know. When I talk to some of my nieces and nephews and I leave words of encouragement and advice, I'm doing it on purpose. So he probably was doing it on purpose, but I don't know if he ever really realized the true impact that it actually had on me. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that. That's going to be on my next album. It's going to be one of the songs we put on that album. And that fiddle part will actually have a second, maybe even a third fiddle part on there.